getting ready for the upcoming school year. Do you guys want to see what all I have planned out so far? Of course you do. You wouldn't be here if you didn't. This year I'm teaching 7th grade, 4th grade, 2nd, and preschool. We kind of started some preschool activities last year for my youngest, but he was only 3, so there was only so much he was ready for. I do have 2 high schoolers. I will link to a video below on how I created my high schoolers plan, because quite honestly, that is a whole nother ballpark, which if you intend to teach high school, I recommend you start working on those plans now so that you can really see what you're in for. I created my 2 oldest children's high school plans 2 years into it with my oldest. As my second oldest was starting to enter high school, I realized there were not going to be enough hours in the day for me to keep up with all the transcripts, the grading, helping them when they needed it, answering their questions, studying with them when they needed it, plus teach the other 4 children as well. I was able to manage it for a while with the oldest, but after so long, I really started to, I kind of started feeling like I was going a little loopy trying to keep up with everybody. I'm one of those who I just had certain expectations for each one of my children, and when I wasn't able to meet them, I got very discouraged and I decided I'm going to hire help. So that's what I did. I hired help. So we have hired help. So I will show you some of what we're doing for high school. I just want you to know that I'm not technically teaching high school. I've hired tutors for my children through a private homeschool program to help them. They're still homeschooled. They're still here. They still ask me questions, and either I tell them the answer or I'll say, I don't know, ask your other teachers, which is super nice, guys. So yeah, I'm still homeschooling. They're still homeschooled, but I have help for the high schoolers. I probably won't have help for these ones when they get to high school, and I do intend to teach high school with them. I just couldn't manage high school right now, plus middle, plus elementary. That is the beauty of homeschooling, is you can completely accommodate and change things around as you need to.
I just wanted to insert this here. It's 2 years after filming this video, and now I have a graduate. Here he is. And over here is my youngest. It's amazing what a difference 2 years can make. I'm now homeschooling my 3rd child through high school, and I am handling everything. I had hired some help with the other 2. So my oldest graduated, my 2nd is about to graduate, and things are getting a little bit easier. I just wanted to insert that to encourage those of you of what a difference 1 and 2 years can make.
We're going to start science for the 7th grader. My 7th grader has ADHD. I'm hoping we can make it through everything that I have planned here, but we will just have to wait and see. If you have an ADHD child, you know how that goes. I have 2 ADHD children, and 1 that has additional learning intricacies as well. So it's been a journey. Anyways, we're going to start with science. We use My Father's World. So a lot of these books you see are not going to be used only by the 7th grader. Some of these books are going to be used, like these ones here, are also going to be used by the other grades. So My Father's World has levels for 3rd through 8th. And what they do is they combine a lot of that. So it's a really good curriculum for families that have multiple children. My Father's World is a little bit more parent-led. At this stage, my children are pretty used to it though. So for us, the kids can fly on their own sometimes with some subjects, depending on their age. I do have to help them quite a bit. I have to be, there and present helping quite a bit. A lot of big families might not like My Father's World for that reason. For us, it does work because I find that my kids do learn more, and they seem to learn better when I am participating in there with them. They do seem to get far more out of it. So I like to participate as much as I can. I also like to have some books though, some subjects that I do not need to participate as much on, because I do have a lot of children, very limited time. So we've got kind of both things going on. So we use My Father's World for science, history, art, Bible. We're using The Good and the Beautiful for language arts and art as well. So I'm just going to go through this stack of books that I have here for the 7th grader, and we're going to see what I've got. Exploring Creation with Astronomy. I got this at a book sale, I think, and it is by Apologia. Love Apologia. Apologia is one of our favorite science courses. This year we are doing Exploring Countries and Cultures with My Father's World. In this level for science, they are doing ecosystems and habitats around the world. So you get to kind of learn about different ecosystems around the world, essentially, and animals around the world. The 7th grader is going to be doing that. The 2nd and the 4th grader are going to be as well. Additionally, my 7th grader is going to be going through this too. So we're going to be filling in with that some. For Bible, the 7th, 4th, and 2nd grader are also going to be doing Hero Tales and Window on the World, and that's for Bible. For Geography, the 7th grader is going to be going through Usborne book, Peoples of the World, and Exploring World Geography. I think the 4th grader is going to be doing some of this one as well, Exploring World Geography. The 7th grader is going to be doing Writing a Country Report. 7th, the 4th grader, and a little bit of work for the 2nd grader. I don't think she's going to be doing very much of these, but they're also going to be doing a trip around the world and another trip around the world. These are fun. I threw this in for my 7th grader specifically. He likes poetry, so I got this book of poems. Now he is going to be doing Language, Arts, and Literature by The Good and the Beautiful, the grade 7. So he's going to be getting a lot of poetry with that as well, but I threw this into just for some like easy reading for him, just because he does love poetry. Of course, I have the daily checklist and notes. That works really well for my 7th grader. Some kids I don't think that would work so well for, but it does work well for my 7th grader. He likes checklists. These are the Exploring Countries and Cultures student sheets. So that's a package for him. I've got a package for the 2nd and the 4th grader as well. I do believe the 7th grader is going to be using some of this book as well. It's a Children's Atlas of the World. I am making a really big mess. Look at this. Okay, I'm looking at my future school plans here to make sure I remembered everything. This, by the way, you guys, this is something that completely transformed our homeschool. Bought back my summers. I did a video sharing what this is. This is a remaining school year's plan. So instead of planning for just 1 year ahead, I sat down about 3 years ago for each one of my children and I planned out all the remaining years. So since I had some kids that hadn't started school yet, for them, I was able to plan out all 12 years. For the children that were like partway through, of course, I just planned out the remaining years that they have left. You guys, it makes it so that I do not have to spend my summers planning out a year, trying to see where we're going in our homeschool. It made it so that the end goal is very clear. It simplified things for our homeschool, helped clarify a lot of things for me. Highly recommend that you plan out all of the years that you plan to teach. I highly recommend you just sit down and I talk all about it. It's way easier than it sounds. It sounds overwhelming, I know, but I have a video for you guys. You can check it out, link below, or maybe I'll do a little card up here for you guys. Is it here or here? I can't remember which. Anyways, it'll be available, you'll find it. You guys, really briefly, if you're enjoying this video, if you're finding it helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe. 40 rules to help boys become men. It's got some etiquette for guys. Like here's one, number 6, don't talk back to parents or elders or teachers. It talks about respecting people. Wait for everyone to be seated before you start eating. Little rules like that to help them become gentlemen. 24, don't comment on other people's physical appearance unless you are complimentary. Number 25, rather than talk about oneself, ask others how they are doing. If he makes it through this and all of his science, I will definitely be adding from our library over here more books for him to read. But I think this is going to keep him busy for a good portion of the year. Math. We use teaching textbooks for math. Teaching textbooks, it gets bad rap that it shouldn't get, in my opinion. It is a solid math curriculum. I have seen mile-long threads on teaching textbooks. People commenting how they used it all the way through. Their kids graduated with a 4.0 in math, went on to higher education, just aced math, did great. A lot of people try to give up partway through with teaching textbooks. I've heard so many different things about it. Some people don't like the sound of the guy's voice that's teaching the lessons. Some people feel like it's lacking. Well, I'm here to tell you today, if you stick with it all the way through, it's not lacking. It teaches some things at different places, and this isn't just me saying it, it's other people that have used teaching textbooks from beginning to ends. Well, not beginning, 3rd grade, because it only starts in 3rd grade, all the way through to the end. It does not have holes, it just teaches some things at different times. It's also not Common Core line, but for those that don't give up on it or who do stick through with it, they say by the end, it all comes together and their children are very well rounded when it comes to math and arithmetic, algebra, all of it. For that reason, any negative comments regarding teaching textbooks or any other curriculum that I'm using will be deleted. I know sometimes I have to delete comments regarding The Good and the Beautiful, and That's not what we're doing here. That's not what singing a new song is all about. There is no judgment here when it comes to other curriculums, like what's good and what's bad. I believe in what works for your family and finding what works for your family. Whew, now we're moving on to the 4th grader. So again, the 4th grader is also going to be going through these books with the 7th grader. 4th grader is also going to be going through these books here. We've got this one I just showed you that a minute ago, but this is another one. The 4th grader probably won't get as much enjoyment out of this as the 2nd grader, but this is going to be one the preschooler, the 2nd grader, and the 4th grader are all going to look at together from time to time. We're going to be reading God Speaks Numenging. This is actually one we're going to be doing with the 7th grader too. Like I said, with My Father's World, they combine the subjects for all of the students that are in 3rd through 8th grade. This is the teacher's manual. When you buy from My Father's World, this is what you're spending the most money on. This is something else that makes it so I don't have to spend my summers planning and I get to do other things in the summer. Check it out, you guys. This is a whole week's schedule. It's already done for me. And again, this is for all the subjects except for language arts and except for math, but it tells you when to do them on here. I love these manuals. I don't know what I would do without them. Now, some people say it's reading from a script. Some people say it's not Charlotte Mason enough because it's planned out and you're basically reading from a script. Since I'm a big family mama and I have a lot of children to teach to, this is probably as close to Charlotte Mason method as I'm going to get. So what they did with My Father's World is they combined a classical education with a Charlotte Mason method with unit studies. And we love it. Again, I have the student sheets for the 4th grader. You're not supposed to reproduce these. You're supposed to buy them new. I think they're like $30 for this pack. And it's nice because when you buy from My Father's World, I know I keep talking about My Father's World. When you buy My Father's World, you buy a bunch of books that would be considered more Charlotte Mason living book style teaching. And you also buy the student sheets. So all the books are non-consumable. The only consumable part you buy is this. So in the long run, if you have a lot of children to teach, it saves you hundreds of dollars in curriculum, since all you have to buy each year are the student sheets and of course leveling up. But if you're not leveling up, if you've already got all the levels, like we have all the levels. We bought all the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade levels, and we have them all. So we don't have to keep buying those every year. All we have to buy each year now are the student sheets. So it saves a lot of money. I hope that makes sense. If you guys have questions about that, let me know. We're going to be using the Good and the Beautiful. I'm using the PDF printable sheets for the 4th grader this year. I like buying the books more. I bought the course levels for the 7th grader because he really doesn't like it. He gets flustered easy when we have all of his stuff in a binder. I will be putting this in a binder. This is, by the way, this is only a quarter of it. I only printed a quarter at a time. And I usually do that. I'll do like 50 pages at a time when I'm printing. So this is free from the Good and the Beautiful. When you use the Good and Beautiful, you have a choice to use their free curriculum, which is the same thing as this, or you can buy it. I'm thinking about getting binding materials to bind things myself. I have a friend who just told me she did that and she would never go back. So she really kind of talked me into getting the binding, so I might be getting that. But for now, we will be putting this in a binder. So we've got the Good and the Beautiful language arts for the 4th grader, and for some filler when I want him to read, just to read and practice reading. He's going to be doing books from the Good and the Beautiful. That's what I ordered yesterday because I didn't have them. I needed to get his reading book. So he's going to have a reading book from the Good and the Beautiful. It's going to be pretty big and it's going to go all the way through the course with him because we are doing the Good and the Beautiful literature with that. But I'm also going to have him go through with the What Your Child Needs to Know book. And this is the 4th grader one. I love these books. Here's a situation. Parents worry that their kids aren't learning everything they need to know all the time. I think probably most parents out there that are homeschooling worry about that. These books solve that problem, okay? And you'll be surprised when you go through these books. I don't feel like these books are teaching a bunch of unnecessary things. They have the poetry, a lot of history, math, and so by the time your child's read through this, they know what is being taught to other kids their level throughout the school. And the thing is that like I intend to homeschool all the way through, but if something was to happen and my kids did have to go to public school, I wouldn't want them to be terribly lacking in any area. So I like having my children go through these for that reason. Just because, you know, sometimes they do have public school friends, or what if they did have to go into public school? I don't want them feeling like their education was lacking. And you know how mean kids can be, and especially extended family members. That's where you really run into it the most, I think, when you're homeschooling, is extended family members, which I don't have this problem anymore because I took care of it. If you want to know how I took care of it, let me know in the comments below and I'll tell you how I took care of it. But we don't have that problem anymore. But we did have the problem where, you know, like family members would come in and they'd try to quiz your child to see where they were at. And sometimes they would have to like Google the answers themselves because they didn't even remember. But I remember one time one of my children being put on the spot, and it happened to be my child that has some learning or had some learning disabilities. And he was put on the spot. And like I said, if you guys want to know how I handle that, just let me know in the comments below and I'll be glad to share that story in a video sometime. Fourth grader, he is going to be doing teaching textbooks. We've got these fast facts that he's going to be doing. Second grader is going to be doing these too. Seventh grader is probably going to be doing some of them as well, because they've got division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. These are really neat. You take these fast facts, you get a blank piece of paper. I'll show you over here. You just get a blank piece of paper, you stick these fast facts on, and they do the problems and write it on the paper. This side has the answers. These are really nice for teaching math facts. My children absolutely love the musical Multiplication by the Good and the Beautiful. My daughter in first grade was begging to do these every day, so she's already ahead and she knows a few of her multiplication facts, not very many, but I want the Good and the Beautiful to make this for all the math facts, not just multiplication. I hope they'll do one for division. I hope they'll do one for addition and subtraction, because those things work. They work. Okay, I want to show you guys these. These are accordion file folders. I'm pretty sure I'm going to use these this year. I'm debating whether or not to use this right now or to use these binders. I don't know what I'm going to use yet. These have worked so well for us this past year. What I love about these is I think there's over 20 slots, and what I like to do is I like to put all the work for each day in the slots so that all I have to do is pull out all of the papers that they're going to need. I don't have to open a binder or anything. It's easy. This has worked for us for about 2 years now, and so I probably will go with this again. The only disadvantage to this is you do have to fill it, but it saves you from having to open the binder and flip around a binder for multiple kids all the time, and so I do like that about this. You just take your papers, you know, that you've gotten lined out for the next couple weeks, and for example, this will be like Mondays, and so all you do is you just pull everything out all at once, and it's all there, and you hand it to the kid, and you say, here you go, and if they need help, of course, you have to help them. Some days there's work that needs help. Some days they can do it all on their own and don't need help. Some days they work better when you don't help. Sometimes they work better if you do more like a teacher in a public school setting, you know, where you give them the papers and they go to their desk and they do it, okay? Sometimes they work better if we're reading a book, yeah, they work better when we all sit down together and cuddle on the couch. But if it's a worksheet, a lot of times it seems to work best if you just hand it to them and you say, here you go, let me know if you have questions. And it took me a lot of years to learn that. It took me a lot of years to learn I didn't need to sit next to each child as they were doing their work, just in case they had a question. I found that when I did do things that way and I sat next to them the whole way through, a lot of times they would pretend that they needed help when they didn't. And it would take longer. The lesson would end with whining and all of this. If I give them the papers and I say, just let me know if you need help, they will have the sheet done in 5 minutes. It took me way too long to learn that lesson. Okay, I think that was all for the fourth grader. It feels like such a small load compared to the second grader and compared to the seventh grader. But I will say, one thing that I forgot to show you with the seventh and the fourth grader is handwriting. I don't have all these printed out. I need to write that down to print those out. Print handwriting, okay. So I still do have to print up all the handwriting sheets for the other kids as well. All right, I think we're ready to move on to the second graders. And I'm looking at her pile of work over here and I'm thinking, oh my Lord. Ugh. So she's already asking to do school. I'm wondering how she's going to feel about that at the end of the year. So we have her handwriting. It's the Good and the Beautiful. This is their sheets that you can print up yourself. When you have as many kids as I do, It's really nice to be able to buy those PDFs one time and be able to print them off for as many children as you need. Oh my gosh, by the way, you guys, best investment in our homeschool. Yes, the best investment in our homeschool, you guys, is the EcoTank printer. The big printers, don't fiddle around with those other cheap printers that are like 30 bucks, 50 bucks. Don't get those. Not if you're going to be a homeschool mama. They, oh my gosh, those will nickel and dime you. Don't mess with them. Go spend the 200 bucks, 100 bucks, 200 bucks, whatever it is, to get yourself that EcoTank, because it's going to save you massive money in the long run. Got these books from The Good and the Beautiful we're going to be going through. You guys, honestly, I think she already read one. Okay, so I never push reading with my kids. I like them to be reading by a certain age, but I usually take it a little bit easier, and then all of a sudden, one day they wake up and they're reading like at a level way above where they should be. So that's kind of cool, and I think that part of the reason that happens like that is because I don't stress them out. I never push them, especially with boys. So there was a study that was done, found if you push boys when it comes to reading and writing, their body is so busy making testosterone that it is the myelin sheath around their nerves and also some of the muscles around their eyes are not developed yet. And if you push them, you can end up causing ADHD-like symptoms. You can also damage the nerves in their eyes as well as their hands. And it can set them back and cause them to need glasses, cause them to have all kinds of learning issues. So I learned a long time ago, don't push your kids. If they're not ready for something, don't stress it. Don't make a big deal about it. When their brains are ready, keep offering certain things to them. But when their brains are ready, they will get it, and it will happen really quickly. Now, sometimes there are learning disorders, and those do need to be investigated. Like, you need to be aware of what's happening, and you need to be checking out, making sure there's nothing wrong. But sometimes they just need a little bit of extra time. Yeah, these are super easy reading, by the way. I mean, we're talking like really easy. But the nice thing is, it gave her a lot of confidence. I mean, she can read now, and part of it had to do with confidence. But see, they're very short here. And so she read through all of these. I think she read through these in 2 days. We got these in the mail, and I remember 2 days later, she goes, "Mommy, I read it." And then it seemed like it was not much time, and she had read the second one too. So we're probably going to go through those again. She's going to go through this one this year. We've got the personal reader. I think there's another reader somewhere on the shelf. Another second reader. There is. I just have to find it, and I don't know where one of my kids. And so yeah, the fourth grader has this one stashed away somewhere. There's a personal reader and a shared reader. He's got the shared reader stashed away somewhere, so I'm going to have to find that one. He's in the fourth grade. He was in third grade, but I think he read this again recently because he enjoys these books. I would find him curled up reading these books. Now, he had been a reluctant reader, so to find him curled up reading a book was just... I told my friend about it. She had a reluctant reader too. So she ran out and got a bunch of these books. Same thing. Her kid had been a reluctant reader, got these books. We're going to go through Nicolene Peck's character building books. These teach obedience. They teach kids how to disagree appropriately instead of, fighting like kids often do. It teaches them how to be a little more diplomatic. These books are really good. We've got Paige Takes the Stage. This one has to do with anger issues, like what to do when you get angry. Each one teaches a different thing, and it teaches them, how to obey, how to get along with others, how to disagree in a way that's not confrontational and doesn't involve meltdowns, and so on and so forth. This is another character book. I don't like this one as much as I like these, but this one, we're going to go through this one too. It does teach some important life lessons, and it's called The Storybook, Character Building Stories for Children. I'll try to link to everything below. We've got student sheets for her. This one is her little accordion file folder. It's cute and pretty, just like her. For math, she's going to be doing Matthew C. I like to use Matthew C for my kids until they get into the third grade. Once they get to the third grade, I give them the choice as to if they want to stick with Matthew C or go to teaching textbooks, and they always want to go to teaching textbooks. So she's in second grade, so she's still going to be in Matthew C though. I wish I had used Matthew C to start my other children out with. Every child that I have started out teaching with Matthew C has kind of become a math whiz. Matthew C has such a way of teaching math that they really get it at an early age, and they grasp the abstract concepts in math. at an earlier age, I feel like. And it just seems to give them a really strong start. Here's a couple fun books we're going to go through this year. Why Do People Eat? There's another one that I still haven't found. It's somewhere on my shelves over here. It's What Makes People Ill. So we're going to go through that one too. Geography from A to Z and Maps and Globes. These are recommended by My Father's World. I actually don't know if they're in the new packages so for My Father's World. I'm glad I got these when I did because I love these two books. These are great. These are great for teaching geography because that's one of the big concepts we're going to be learning this year. Now, I used to try to teach geography with other curriculums. It was like I was speaking another language to my children. I remember with one curriculum we were using, we ended up getting stuck for 6 months with it, and my children just kept getting F's, F's, F's in geography and history. About a year later is when we found My Father's World, and we started out with exploring countries and cultures, and for the first time, not only did they get geography and history, they enjoyed it, and we all had the most beautiful homeschool year that year. That was our first year with My Father's World. It's really nice when you guys can find a curriculum that's going to work for your family. To do that, you need to know your learning style though. So first find your learning style, then go to Kathy Duffy Reviews, and you can look on the side and it will tell you exactly what style the curriculum you're looking up is. I think you can even look up curriculum by style. So you can type in like classical language arts curriculums. You can type in whatever the style is that you have chosen is going to be your teaching method style that's going to suit your lifestyle and family, and it will show you. Kathy Duffy Reviews, awesome. I see mamas going in and asking in these Facebook groups all the time, which is great and wonderful that those Facebook groups are there. Wonderful. You can't replace that. I mean, it's wonderful. But I see moms going in and asking questions all the time there that they could have answered so much more simply if they went to Kathy Duffy Reviews and used the little key on the side. Okay, so you guys, I'm not giving you like really close-up views. I have another video where I've got close-up views of, I think, everything that I've showed you today. I will link to that below. So I'm not going to give you like really close-up views of everything today. I will go through now though and show you some of what I'm going to be using for the preschooler. So he's in preschool, he's only 4. We're not going to be doing very much, obviously. Not anything heavy, let me put it that way. For him, I'm going to be using a lot of Harbor and Sprout. If you're not familiar with Harbor and Sprout, I will link to it below. I am a Harbor and Sprout affiliate, so I will just say that right now. But I love Harbor and Sprout. They're beautiful, it's got beautiful work, and it helps the kids feel like they're doing schoolwork along with everybody else. We'll also be using Jen Merkling's Ready for Reading for him, because he's ready for that. We are going to start getting a little bit of a head start with Matthew C. Primer. Now, I'm probably going to take 2 years to go through that with him because he is a little young right now, but he has 5 older siblings, so he is a little bit more ready for that right now than he would be, say, if he was the oldest. He's also going to be wanting to do something, especially with the Matthew C. blocks. I'm not sure where they are. I think they're upstairs. But he's always wanting to do something with those. So we're going to start this year. We're going to start counting and learning counting and going through so that he feels like, you know, he's not left out. Otherwise, he would feel left out. So for him, like I said, Harbor and Sprout, Ready for Reading, phonics, and Matthew C. Other than that, he is going to be sitting along. He's going to be wanting to go through some of these books. Like he's going to want to do this book with his siblings. He'll sit there and he'll listen. He's going to want to hear and see the pictures. He's probably going to want to do this geography book with the older kids. And again, he is only 4. He is an advanced 4 because he has 5 older siblings. So if you got a 4-year-old that's not ready for any of this stuff yet, that's more normal, just so you know. For the high schoolers, we're going to be going through these practical life skills books. We're still working on those. We've been working on those for a while, but we're going to keep working through those. We've got grammar and composition. I think that's for the younger high school. I'm not sure if it's for my oldest son. And then I'm hoping we can get through these this year too. Health and nutrition. This was by my oldest child's bed. I guess he's been reading this at night, getting a head start. So both the high schoolers are going to be taking biology this year, and that is going to be by Abeka. For math, they're both doing teaching textbooks. For language, they're going to be using Abeka. Now, in their 4-year high school plans, I had other plans, but this is what their tutors and teachers that I hired for them had chosen for them instead, because For one, it's what they're more familiar with, and for two, they thought it would be a better fit for my children, my two oldest children, which I'm totally fine with. They're the ones grading it, so it's fine by me. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave a comment below. Tell me what you're using this year. Also, please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.